And we're live. Alright. If you enjoyed the fact that instead of an ad, you were hearing real music by the Casey Donahue Band, that is because I'm not monetizing the podcast anymore. I made about $1.20 off of the like 10. I'm serious. We made about $1.20.
I thought you got like 14
That's a
cents.
cup. That's a cup of coffee from
14
McDonald's.
cents. 14 cents or something like that. Okay.
Maybe it was only 14 cents. I thought I made $1.20. But anyway, we made a little bit of our day money off of the first season of this podcast that we did. But now I'm thinking I'm gonna rebrand and try something different here, since we had such a good long run with the Let's Have a Drink podcast. So this is what may be known as the trailer talking trash, talking trailer trash talking trailer. It might be something like that. But
What was the other one? You had another name.
Join My Pyramid Scheme.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I like that too. But I don't know. I also kind of want a name that tells you a little bit about what the podcast is about, so you're more liable to listen to it.
So is this going to be a podcast with you and me every time?
No,
Oh, okay.
but like every other one is going to be me and Nicole. So look forward to that. She claims to hate doing this, but really she just likes that she gets an hour of the two of us just talking. Because honestly, if you give me an hour, I'm gonna think of anything else to do, but
talk to your wife.
But talk to my wife. Yeah. So, trailer trash talking. I like Join My Pyramid Scheme though, just because it's a fun name, and that's what it feels like.
Just do trailer trash talking : Join My Pyramid Scheme.
Just have
Michael Scott. Michael
Welcome
Scott.
everybody. This is the Donnie Daytona podcast extravaganza.
With the
Yeah,
office, or what was it?
that would be kind of cool. It's funny though, because like whenever, I don't know, when I was doing Let's Have a Drink or season 1, it felt like every time I called someone, I kind of felt like I was that dude who was trying to like sell a pyramid scheme to somebody. Because
it's not a pyramid
that's
scheme,
always
it's a multi-level marketing.
Yeah, but I feel like normally when you haven't talked to someone in a few years and you reach out to them kind of randomly, that's what they're skeptical of at first. But truth be told, even people who I talked to just a few months ago have tried to sell me a pyramid scheme, so you know who you are.
Are you going to call the same people you called and talk to them again?
No, I'm not gonna talk to those people ever again.
You're one and done?
I want new friends. I want to keep talking about cattle though, so I'll probably call it Preston again. I'll call it Brock again. Pretty much everyone from season 1 you're gonna see again. Yeah.
Because those are all the friends that we have.
No, if I wanted to just reach out to like everyone I've been good friends with over the years, it would take a while. And that's the thing, like everyone's doing something interesting too. But I'm not gonna waste my time with somebody who I don't think is like a genuine person either. Like if I'm gonna call someone and it feels like they're like talking to
Sell their pyramid
they're
scheme?
talking to the camera. Yeah, if it feels like they're trying to sell themselves the whole time during the podcast, and that's not going to be any fun. But the fun behind it is the fact that I get to just have a conversation with someone, but they're also talking in a way that they are comfortable talking about themselves. I know we've talked about this more, but of course we're talking about it for the podcast. But they feel comfortable talking about themselves a lot more. Otherwise, they feel kind of kind of self-indulged if you just do that in a one-on-one conversation. But truth be told, I want to know about all the stuff that you feel like is interesting from your life, even if you think you told me about it before. And if you're Mark, you have, and I'll listen to your same stories over and over again, man. I'll still laugh at them every time.
When when we go back home, are you gonna
Cody, on the other hand,
talk to your grandpa?
Cody's got like a plethora of stories. Like, I learn something new about Cody every time I hang out with him.
He doesn't seem to talk a whole lot.
No, he doesn't.
He listens.
Yeah.
Like last night when we were talking with everybody. That sounds bad.
It was cool. Yeah, so last night we
You didn't answer me. Are you gonna get your grandpa?
last night oh yeah, absolutely. I wasn't listening to your question, but yeah, I need to get my grandpa on here because there's so much he could tell. Like, he could tell us about our family and about Southeast Colorado that I definitely need to have preserved for my great grandkids to hear. Nobody knows the history of that land like he does, because he, heard all the stories and saw. Yeah, I know, my stomach just made a funny noise. Another cup of coffee and it'll make another funny noise like that. What are we drinking? Oh yeah, so I'm having a Irish Folgers coffee right now. Nicole,
From a packet.
Nicole is having a Utah Swiss Miss hot chocolate.
With marshmallows.
Yeah, well, there were marshmallows. They melted. Let's get to talking about something interesting before this gets too dry. Anyway, we're broadcasting from our camper here on the mighty banks of the Broad River. These KLMR used to say, broadcasting from the mighty banks of the Arkansas River. Except the banks of the Broad River are actually mighty. The banks of the Arkansas pretty dry.
As KLMR,
Pretty dry.
KLMR was from. How far away from the river?
No, I think they were closer to the river. We are we're like 2 miles away from the river.
Oh, okay. So
We're actually not far. Yeah. Here's the
still
thing,
farther.
though. Yeah, if we want to go to a Mexican restaurant right now, because that's the closest restaurant there is, it's 4.5 miles away. It would take us 22 minutes because we would have to go all the way up north of Monticello Reservoir, where the nuclear power plant is, and then come back down.
Where is it? Like
The nuclear plant?
No, the Mexican restaurant, like west of
Irma.
Irma. Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we'd have to go clear up around the reservoir and then come down. So
There's nothing.
There's nothing nearby here. Uber
like
Eats doesn't come out here. Domino's doesn't deliver out here.
We got used to city living.
We let it change us.
I
So
we still drive.
I'm gonna take a little 10-minute break and step outside while Nicole tells you about the process of. We're gonna talk to you. This is mostly you though, so you gotta get talkative and go through the process of how we decided to move into a camper and how we made it work so far.
You started it because I will just add. How are you drinking that? Isn't it burning you?
No. Well, there we were. We were.
Check it out. So there I was.
We're sitting on the couch. I'm watching YouTube videos about living in a sailboat. So a big part of this is when I did the podcast with Ivy, actually. So my podcast with Ivy Jones, I need to list that one again. Season 1, podcast with Ivy. She lives in a camper full time, travels all around the country. For her unit in the Army Reserves, they will fly her into her drill from wherever she is in America, and they drill every other month. So if she is living in Alaska at the time, they fly her into Colorado Springs from Alaska. If she's living in Arizona, you get the picture. I can do this all day. But she's lived in Alaska. She likes to live in the north in the summer and live in the south during the winter. The southwest. She hasn't been like through
Over
the whole
here.
CSA yet.
Yeah, she doesn't come this way.
No, she says she wants to though. So anyway, she's been doing that, And to me, it sounded awesome. Like, I thought it sounded really cool, and I also thought it didn't sound practical at all because we have 3 kids. Our friends Cody and Jess, they got a toy hauler and started living in that up in Washington State because he's stationed up at JBLM now. And so I don't know, for us, like, we thought more and more about getting a camper. And
Well, because we were thinking we'd be PCSing soon, and then PCSing again in a year and a half, and the place that we thought we were going to be moving to, we were like, this like housing market is terrible. To buy a house, it doesn't make much sense because we'll only be there for a year and a half to 2 years.
oh, so another thing about what's been going on in our lives, I tried out for a special operations job in the Army. So that was our plan at the time, was that I was going to go up there, and obviously I was going to be successful, right? So I go up, try it out for that, and our plan was we were going to end up living back in North Carolina long term again. Well, not long term, but living there, and then whatever duty station we had after North Carolina is where we were going to be for the next like 10 years or more.
So we would buy a house there. So in the meantime, we would live in a trailer.
Yep. And because the thing is, by renting, we felt like we were just paying for an experience, and we weren't getting an asset out of it. So
Well, and the Army gives a housing stipend.
yeah, so we get our housing allowance, and if we're just putting that into rent, then okay, we're paying that money so we can experience living in a house, and we have the comfort and the same standard of living. However, if you either buy a house or buy a trailer like we did, then you have something from like afterwards. You're paying that, you're making that payment using the housing allowance, and after you got that thing paid off, it's yours. So
And if you decide to sell it, you
Yeah.
can get that money and it's yours.
we could sell it in 2 years and have that money, or we could get out of the
Right.
Army in 2
Yeah.
years and still have this thing to live in.
Yeah.
So we still got options there, but our plan is still to eventually, when we're someplace long term, I am planning on trying out for that special operations job again, and that works out, we'll be somewhere for 10 years or more, and then we can try to buy a house with a decent amount of land on it, maybe enough to have a few cows, who knows. Yeah. But if not, then hey, we got a camper. We got options. So
So Cody and Jess.
Yep.
Ivy and Cody and Jess.
Yeah, there were a number of factors that kind of led to us going through with this. I'm so far pretty glad we did.
Well, I went home to Colorado and you had to stay and you went and talked to Cody and Jess for Jess's birthday and you got to like hear about them.
I didn't know they
Didn't
were
it?
doing it.
You didn't?
No,
Oh. I didn't know that.
no,
Then-
I didn't know until we saw it on their Snapchat or saw it
Oh,
at his Facebook. They posted on Facebook that they got the toy hauler. Yeah.
Well, and then I came back and we just started looking at trailers. We were like, what could we get? And I was kind of like, we went back and forth. We were like, oh yeah, this would be awesome. And we were like, oh my gosh, like, let's not do that to ourselves. But mostly that was me. You sat on the couch like, we'd be fine. Let's get a sailboat.
Yeah. I still think that'd be cool someday. Maybe when we're empty nesters, we'd live in a houseboat and do that. Even if it's like on John Martin.
Well, that makes me nervous having kids living in a houseboat.
No, when we're empty nesters, we do.
Yeah, I know. So that's why I'm fine with empty nester. But
Anyway, process of picking this thing out. Of course, I was kind of hoping you would get long-winded on that.
really, okay. Well, I got an app. Well, I have searched not Facebook yet. I've searched like the websites to find camping trailers and like Camping World and all the camping trailers and whatnot, places that sell them. And then there was an app called RV Trader, and that's where you can like search everywhere in the whole country and Canada, I'm pretty sure, for new and used, and you can like say what exactly you want. So I can't have it way more than this, and I don't want it to be longer than this length, and I want it to be able to sleep this many people at least, and I want to have a U-dinette, which is this one, instead of just like the booth seats.
And what's cool about this, I don't know, with small kids, we're able to fit some people in here. Yeah, it's a little, like, we get cozy, but when Mike and Molly came down and visited us, we fit everyone around. Did Evelyn sit?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we
it
had
was
the kids, all four. Well, we put Tom on the floor. In his high chair.
6-year-old, or Evelyn's
She's
5.
five.
Yeah, a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, a 3-year-old. Tom sat in his little chair over like on the ground. But yeah, three kids and 4 adults. We were all able to sit around the U-dinette together and eat our meals, and of course we got the Bluetooth like system. There's a sound bar on the inside, and then also speakers connected to the outside. So me and Mike could, take turns playing music and showing each other what kind of stuff we've been listening to. So yeah,
you can choose what you want. And you can choose like how many doors you have. So if you have a door that goes to the bathroom and a door that's just like your normal door, you can choose everything about the bunk, like the kids' room. So I put all that in, and then apparently everybody this summer decided that it was a great idea to buy a camper
campers.
because of COVID. So they their jobs are all from home, and they're like, well, I may as well go travel and see everything while the kids are out of school, and I have to work from home. So the trailer market was
every time
insane.
Every time we went to look at a Zingers, like specifically the brand by Crossroads, that is what this camper is. We would pull onto the lot, and someone would be leaving with the one that we showed up to look at. So that happened to us. We went all the way to Georgia to McDonough, and Nicole's like, I think we need to schedule an appointment. I was like, no, we don't need to schedule an appointment. Just show up and look at the campers. And it happened at the RV place in Columbia. Mm-hmm. It happened when we went all the way to Georgia. But luckily, we got to get a good look. It was the same camper as this one, except that one had 1 AC unit, and this one's got 2. But
which in the South was...
You gotta have 2 AC units down here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we showed up. We took a look at their camper, and this couple, they're obviously pretty tickled with their decision, because these campers are awesome. But we walked through and looked at it, and like the color of it, like the setup. It was, the U-dinette right here, the bunkhouse in the back. You could sleep like 4 kids in there. More if they can get comfy.
Yeah.
They get cozy with each other. But so yeah, we saw that one. We're like, okay, yeah, this is the one we want. And talked to the saleswoman. She said, well, I'll look and see because these are built in Indiana. She looked to see what they had, and they had the exact same camper in Indiana. It was on its way to Georgia, except it had 2 AC units. So if things would have worked out for me, trying out for special operations, I would have been there. I would have been at Fort Bragg trying out a little longer than what I was. I got dropped after psychological evaluations and ended up coming back to South Carolina early. So
about a week and a half early.
Yeah, I guess I can't even call it a blessing in disguise, but it worked out. So I was able to haul the camper back up here, because I still got to train Nicole on how to drive with the trailer, although I think you'd handle it no problem.
It's just more, I think it's a mental
It'd
thing,
be-
more makes me nervous, especially with in a city.
It's
Back home
stressful.
it'd be fine.
If you were pulling a beat up horse trailer that can afford a couple
Yeah.
bumps and scrapes,
Yeah.
then you don't have to
Not
stress.
our house.
Yeah, if you're pulling our home that we just purchased and is brand new,
Yeah.
that we didn't get the warranty for,
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been pretty stressful. I mean, it stressed me out a little bit just because this is the most money I've spent on anything, and I would have really felt bad if I would have destroyed Valley State Bank's new camper.
Our bank owns it.
Yeah,
Not
our
your
bank.
Not your bank.
Ain't
Our
no
bank.
USAA owns this camper. It is the Valley State Bank in Southwest Kansas.
Your dad was asking for the login. I sent it to him.
Oh, login for Amazon. Oh, to watch the whole. Ooh, yeah. Let's talk about that too.
Well,
Ultimate-
wait, you're like going all over the place. What do you want to talk
That's
about?
okay
with the
too. So
trailer?
we're gonna circle back around to the Ultimate Cowboy Showdown. That's a pretty cool TV show that we watched on Amazon Prime. But yeah, so with camper, I wanted to talk like what all we did to make this thing work. But what I've told all my buddies who have asked about it was a surprisingly easy transition to make, going from living in a 4-bedroom house with 3 bathrooms. Okay, that's probably the most difficult part about the transition is the bathrooms. But going from living in a 4-bedroom house to living in a 36-foot travel trailer with 2 slides, we keep the same routine. Although the kids have missed a lot of nap time because
Only on the weekends. We
Yeah,
didn't have
oh,
every
yeah.
day.
the
Alright.
weekends they've missed some nap time. So man, today was rough. There's some days where
He's like, oh, I want to send them back because I spent a day with them.
yeah,
Is it
So-
rough?
send them back. What do you mean send them back?
Or send them away? Some other family.
Yeah, they were a handful today, but we did go watch the Gaethje and Khabib fight. But so anyway,
it's
yeah,
not-
we
it
keep
wasn't
we
very
keep the
huge.
same routine. Like they still do nap time at 1 p.m. They still like get showered up and go to bed at about 7:45. And what Nicole likes best about it is that she's, before she was bathing the kids upstairs, and I might be like in the backyard, like picking on a guitar or
Downstairs
like
playing
downstairs,
Call of Duty with Cody.
playing Call of Duty with Cody and Will. But now if I'm doing that, like I'm only 10 feet away. Whether like if I'm sitting there playing Call of Duty or playing guitar, she's right there bathing kids, and everyone's just a lot closer all the time. The kids spend a lot of time outside. It almost seems impossible to keep them clean when you're not parked somewhere with a concrete pad.
Yeah.
That's-
and
that's-
there's red dirt here, so it stains.
Yeah, it's hard not to kind of feel like trashy trailer people when your
Well,
kids
not
are always
trash,
covered
just
in dirt.
Dirty.
No, yeah, that is what it is.
Because
Dirty.
we're not like,
Yeah, we're
I
not.
don't know, like missing
we're not
teeth
doing
and
drugs in
slurring,
here.
slurring our words and pie all the time.
But yeah, so the transition was surprisingly easier. One thing that everybody said on the Facebook groups Nicole's in is to like take a week and just do a trial run and kind of see what it is that you need to have with you and what you can do without during that week, so you got a good feel for it before you go like pack your house up and put everything in storage. And that was a process too, but it went actually a lot better than what we've experienced in the past with moving. So
Yeah, because of Christmas.
so we did a week at Lake Wateree, the recreation area that's run by Shaw Air Force Base. It's like 50 minutes from work for me, and that's
That
the
was the
only
only
reason we're
thing.
not staying there right now. Yeah,
The
because
only thing, because it
well,
was
and
awesome.
we would have had to have moved around a lot because
Oh yeah, they didn't have a spot
they
open for
didn't
the-
have a spot that we could have just stayed at for
Yeah.
the rest of our time here. So it would have meant like doing some boondocking too, which we're not quite equipped for because we'd need a generator to run our AC units and to run our microwave. Other than that, though,
I don't use
we
that
can.
a whole lot.
Yeah, we can run.
Everything's propane or battery. Well,
So except the electrical outlets, you can't just run off a battery. You have to be plugged into something. But you can be plugged into like what do you call? We call like the outlets in your, like these outlets, the outlets in your house. No.
Oh, 120 volt.
Yeah, you could.
Oh yeah, like the 20 volt, like the converter thing.
Yeah, you can use a dog bone, which is a converter that is like 50 amp to 120 volt, and we had this thing just plugged
50
in.
amp to like 15 amp.
This was plugged in our yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway, so we had this thing in our driveway, like plugged into the electricity in our house, and we were able to use everything except the AC units and the microwave. Which means like we moved the TV into the camper already. Had 2 TVs mounted in here, no TVs in our house, just a projector screen that we could only really watch when the sun went down.
We had like a fan. And this is like
Yeah, just
September in South Carolina.
Ran an electric fan, kept the windows open. It got a little toasty in here, but
Sometimes there was a week where it was pretty chilly for September.
yeah. So no, we would have had to have boondocked it a little bit if we stayed at Watery. So we ended up coming to Broad River Campground, and over here there's no like concrete pads. There's not like a lake that you can go walk down to. It's a lot more people who are like traveling or like living here for a little while because they work construction or something along those lines. Retirees too, a few people who are just passing through the area. But the Watery was awesome. We'd definitely stay there again.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, in fact, I'll have to come back down to Jack's nuclear installation. So
maybe we stay there. Depends on how long though.
Yeah, how long I've got to be at Jackson. Might stay at the recreation area, or who knows?
Weston.
Maybe if they make Weston Lake cheaper, then we could do that.
There's a
campsite on Fort Jackson itself.
but they like raised the price.
Like
The monthly
$1,200 a month.
monthly rate was insane. Usually campgrounds will have like a $40 nightly rate for like full hookups for everything, like 50 amp and all of it. It's like $35, $40 a night, and then the weekly rate it's lower, like a little bit, like $220 or something like that. And then if you do a month, because they know that you're gonna be there for all those days, they're like $450.
So
whatever.
Fort Jackson MWR, if you're listening,
You're screwing people over.
It's unreasonable.
They wanted so most of the campgrounds here for the monthly price, everything included, it's like between $400 and $550. But Fort Jackson was like $1,060. It was like, no.
Yeah.
So that was a lot.
But yeah, so Broad River's been pretty cool though. Kids have got some friends who they ride bikes with and go to the playground with. We're meeting people around here. Leonard and Cherie back over here. Leonard's a Marine Corps vet. Cherie's a computer programmer. They're an older couple, pretty cool. So this has been neat though. It's just everything's pretty close. The kids are sleeping literally 15 feet away from me right now, and I'm talking at a little louder volume, but they've got their routine. Once they're settling for bed, they know for the most part. Maybe they can get up one more time to use the restroom or whatever, but they need to stay settled in. One thing we learned was utilize your vertical space as much as possible. So like we've got some drawers and cabinets where we even put in another shelf, so that way we could just maximize that space and store more like dishes and mugs and cups. We reduced greatly the number of like utensils and dishes that we use. Like, we've got 4 plastic plates that Nicole and I use, and then the kids have their trays that they use with the little sections in them.
Like
these
the
two,
Instant Pot.
Yeah, these are the only coffee mugs that we keep in the camper. We got
share with friends.
Yeah, we got 1 shot glass, 1 mason jar, Then like
The, like,
plastic
whiskey
CSU
thing.
cups and a whiskey flask and some stuff like that. And our fridge is pretty big for a camper fridge, so
Yeah,
we're
it's
able
just
to.
perfect.
Yeah, we can put like 2.5 weeks of groceries in there, I'd say.
Yeah.
So, and then we got another fridge at the outdoor kitchen, which I kind of,
That's
I
like
use,
the drink fridge.
yeah, I kind of use that as like my own little bar, because we got the Soda Stream out there, so we make our seltzer water,
Kid seltzer.
yeah, and then keep beer and Smirnoff in that fridge, along with some frozen fruit.
For if we ever want a smoothie one day.
Yeah, smoothies and who knows, maybe a Captain Morgan mojito, like what we made that one
At
October
Farmhouse.
and yeah, back in college. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I found myself doing campfires a lot more often, which when COVID hit, I was having a campfire in the backyard like every day. But at a campground, that's a little more acceptable to constantly be having a fire. Of course, you've got a fire pit that you don't have to fill in after you move out, and plant fresh grass over the top of.
Like trying to sink in
Yeah,
when you go in.
We dug a
walk
hole
over it.
for our fire pit at our last house, and then ended up filling it back in, and then planting grass, so that way Tricon wouldn't have any issues with it. We
Doesn't
still
seem
got
like they did.
still got our security deposit back, so we're good.
I'm pretty sure most of it anyways.
Yeah,
They may have taken a little bit. but-
I'd like to see if they did. I'd like to see what for.
Yeah.
Maybe blinds or something like that. The kids just kind of tear up.
I don't know. Either way, we're really happy because Billy Bob flooded the upstairs, and I wasn't able to mask it like where I flooded the upstairs.
Yeah. Yeah, you were a wizard with that. Nicole managed to paint the ceiling and then use plaster to like redo the popcorn, so you can't even notice that we flooded it a couple of times. But yeah, that and also like mixed paint to, and like you filled in all the holes that got knocked in the wall. Just some of it's rambunctious.
It's like
You think
whole
so?
Billy Bob. The holes in the
It's
wall are
Lily
all-
throwing him around and his pointy little elbows
and his head.
hitting the drywall. Yeah. Wait, his head?
In the bathroom upstairs, he hit
Oh,
his head, and there was a big one.
I don't know. Lily Kate, Billy Bob, if you're watching this someday, this might explain the brain damage.
That Billy Bob has.
I'll say it slower so you can understand. No, I'm sure that you two both turned out to be very intelligent, contributing members of society. Fingers crossed.
Well, the reason they can't really hear us either is because they have the AC back there, and I turned their fan on. So I turned the fan on.
I'm talking to future Lily Kate and Billy Bob. I'm not talking to the ones that are sleeping in there.
Lily watches your videos.
That's
so does
well,
Billy.
I don't know about my podcasts, but they do watch just my like YouTube videos. I wonder if I can change my YouTube account name. I think I can.
Probably.
I don't know. I do like drawing my pyramid scheme. Maybe I'll do it both.
No,
Trailer-
you should do the colon.
Trailer Trash Talk. Yeah, a colon. Trailer Trash Talk. Colon.
Talking
Join my
trailer.
pyramid scheme.
Yeah, there. I like it. Talking trailer. Is it talking trailer trash?
Trailer Trash Talk.
Trailer trash. Triple T.
See, like, bit of a double entendre in there. Like, Trailer Trash Talk, like talk radio, and also Trailer Trash Talk, like trash talk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then Join My Pyramid Scheme's just funny.
Random.
Yeah, it's funny. So, plan on having Wild Bill, the rodeo clown, on here. He's kind of an anomaly. He's a rodeo clown from Virginia. So rodeo is different out here on the East Coast. I've talked about that in my podcast with Rick LeFavor, because it's just the caliber is not as great, but people show up because they're looking for entertainment, and you're always going to find people who. In America, you're always going to find people somewhere who are roping calves and hopping on buck and stock, and they might be just as cocky as the ones back west.
Not
But-
nearly as good.
Yeah, not nearly the talent though. So, tension rods. We
Oh,
used them in the kids' bunks, and
Like
Nicole.
make curtains.
Yeah, Nicole put curtains up so that way they've got their own space. They're kind of able to like shut out the rest of the room, so they can have their quiet time and hopefully get a nap in, sleep through the night. Tom is in a pack and play that he's gonna outgrow here in a few months probably. He's
Likely.
yeah,
And
but
he'll
hopefully
just
when he
go
gets to that
sleep.
point, he can sleep on like the bed part itself.
Because there's a bed where Lily sleeps, and underneath it is where the outdoor
TV
kitchen
is.
kind of comes in. So from the outside.
Yeah, it's the inside of the outdoor kitchen.
So right underneath hers is there's a TV where we keep Tom's toys, and then underneath Tom's toys, that's where all their shoes are kept in little buckets. And they have like a little closet. There's 3 little shelves, and I've put baskets in to make
Stuff that she turned this into a closet. Like
Yeah.
there's one part, it's pretty much above Tom's bed where she just put a tension rod, and that's where all of their shirts and
Hanging
dresses are
clothes, yeah.
hanging. Yeah.
So that's like where Lily's bed is right above that, and then where the clothes are with the tension rod, like the hanging clothes, that's where Tom's bed is. And the only thing is, I feel like he's gonna like grab those clothes, so I gotta figure out something so that he doesn't, if he's sleeping down in that part.
By the time he's too big for that pack and play, he might be old enough to know better. I'm kind of hoping that he'll be old enough not to climb, or he'll know not to climb out of his bed at that point too.
Yeah.
That he'll just rack out for the day.
Yeah.
And we can always set up a curtain there so he's kind of got his own space too.
Yeah.
But
And then next to that, though, is where there was a couch on the lower level, and then above that is where Billy Bob sleeps. And we put like a little rope ladder.
yeah,
That kid's gonna be buff.
we were.
by the end of the 2-3 years.
I was a
that we're
little
in
worried
this.
that he wasn't going to be able to pull it off when we first put it on there. I did just the rungs, so they were just right that he could reach him and get up over. But he's got to use like some upper body strength and some core strength to get onto that ladder, because it doesn't hang like all the way to the floor. It's honestly like if you've ever been a small kid trying to get your foot into a stirrup on a
Yeah.
on a full-sized horse. That's kind of what he's trying
You've
to
never
do.
ridden
He's
a horse, and you're like, what the heck am I doing?
yeah, he's trying to get his foot like all the way up to that bottom rung, and then grab onto the rung just above it. And then what he's got to do is he's got to get his hands on the rung that's like up above the bunk.
Where on his blanket, that's
Yeah.
resting on his blanket.
It took him a bit to get it down, and we still catch him swinging on that ladder, which irritates me to no end, because I'm trying to like take care of this camper and make it last. But yeah, so he climbs up a rope ladder to get into his bunk, which is kind of cool. It's, I don't know, you go into that and it's like, it looks like the dream playhouse. They've got their like little TV with an Amazon Fire Stick plugged in, and they've got all their books, their toys are in Rubbermaids like up on their bunks. They've got the same bedding that they had back at our house, and it's cool. Both Lily Kate and Billy Bob are on lofted beds. Tom's pack and play is just raised up a little bit.
It's like 2 feet.
Yeah, and then there's a really nice like fake leather couch underneath Billy Bob's bunk.
A jackknife couch, so you just like lift the bottom up and it lays flat like
Yeah,
a
like a
futon.
yep. So Nicole took that out, put a nugget in, which is actually going to reduce the weight of the trailer, because the nugget's a little lighter, and they can take the nugget apart and play on it. They were jumping off their bunks down onto the nugget, which I guess I'm okay with. But
As long as you're jumping onto the nugget, it's not like a
yeah, but you can turn that thing into a couch, so you can just chill down there and watch a movie, which we're able to all just like, the physical size of our family right now, we're able to stack up under Billy Bob's bunk and hang out and watch a movie in their room if they want us to, which I think they think that's fun, because we're hanging out in their room with them, and it stays real nice and cool in there because it's such a little room with its own AC unit.
Yeah.
But so there's one slide on their room. I gotta check our time because we can't go over an hour. Actually, you're probably thankful for that. Oh yeah.
You got plenty.
So anyway, they got one slide there, so that opens it up, and there's room to play in there, and they got room to sleep. It's everything they could ask for. And then what we're sitting on right now is a slide also. So this, like, we got the U dinette, and then next to it is our couch, which is also a jackknife couch. and it makes the bed that someone
Fits your mom
someone who's about like under 5'5" can sleep on
comfortably. I mean, I think I could
mostly
sleep on it.
comfortably. Yeah.
And I'm taller than 5'5".
I can't stretch out on that thing. So it's not too comfortable for me if I'm laying down, but I have fallen asleep on it. So if I'm tired enough, it's gonna work. And then our bed, I don't recommend it if you're over 6 foot, but it works just fine for us. So we finally put a like a gel pillow top on top of our mattress.
It was so
Because
hard.
our backs, like we'd wake up and our skeletons just felt like they were
sore.
compressed.
It was not good. We
Yeah.
had one of those egg foam.
Yeah, an egg carton.
Egg carton foam things that did not do much.
Yeah. But there's a little shelf up above ours, and we reduced our wardrobe quite a bit. We donated a lot of clothes, put a lot of clothes in a vacuum sealed bag and put them in storage. But like I was able, I still fit a decent number of shirts in there because I've got to have t-shirts and I've got to have my button-down shirts because that's just kind of.
And then you have to have your uniforms.
Yeah, I got my uniforms. So Nicole had this like hanging pocket thing both on her door and on the kids' door, and I saw how much more storage space that was for her, so I had her order one for me too. So I was able to put like all of my uniform stuff in that, and then I just locked my like dress uniform up in my locker at work. So yeah, we managed to like maximize our storage space pretty well. We got a stand for the PlayStation, so it's able to stand up on its side, and the stand has a fan built into it, so it keeps it nice and cool. And it's got a charging station for both controllers, so I was kind of worried about going down the road with the PlayStation propped up in there, but we set it on that stand. It holds it nice and snug, and I can drive over speed bumps and everything, and the PlayStation doesn't tip over, knock open the cabinet or anything whenever we're on the road. We've got our Amazon Echo. I'm not going to say her name because she'll respond to it, but we got that unit where the Russians listen in on us in here too. It's hooked up to the sound bar and the outside speakers, so
You can control it.
yeah, she's Bluetooth compatible. We're able to play like.
Party.
Yeah, we're able to party. That's what's
the
up.
blue party lights.
And it's another screen, so if we wanted, we could watch Prime Video on it.
We have like one little pot for what Kyle boils water in for like coffee and hot chocolate, and then a bigger pot that we can put like boil water in for like noodles for kids' mac and cheese.
Yep.
Or I guess eggs if you wanted eggs. And then I have the instant pot. And then what are the cutting boards? They're like plastic, really thin, lightweight cutting boards.
Just cheap disposable stuff. It's not
gonna. Yeah, I mean,
Stuff- yeah,
we've
stuff
had it
that
for a while.
we have gotten a lot of use out of those little cutting boards.
We
But
have like one muffin tin, 2 little tiny pans because the oven is so tiny.
yeah, you gotta put a pizza stone in the bottom of the oven so that way it distributes the heat a little more evenly inside the oven. You can't make a whole lot with it. I think Cody and Jess were saying they store like potatoes and onions in their oven
Theirs
because they don't
wasn't
use it.
working. Yeah, their oven wasn't working, so she just put her produce in it.
Yeah. In the South, you gotta have dehumidifiers, and they'll collect a decent amount of moisture. We have to get like wall units in here, but I know like bigger campers will have like a built-in dehumidification system. It's pretty cool. We drank the water from the dehumidifier because that's just how savage we are. But
it was super filtered.
it was.
We put it in the Brita filter. We didn't drink it directly from the dehumidifier.
Right. Yeah, but so yeah, those are a must. And then Nicole also found a washer unit. They make these little washer units.
It's for like people that live in California where you're not rich, like making
Or,
over
like, New York City.
$400,000.
Like if you're in New York City,
like
you're not gonna have a washer up in your apartment, in your tiny 4th floor flat. So it's that, and thing does a lot. Like, it's got a spinner, so it's not dryer. It doesn't use heat, but it spins.
Like all of the water in here.
Yeah, it spins almost all the water out, and then we just hang it on another tension rod in the bathroom. So there are times when I'm like going to shave, and I've got to like push hanging laundry out of the way so I can see in the mirror.
But we save so much money because doing one load, like washing and drying one load of laundry, will cost $4, and it's red dirt, and I've got kids, so we go like our clothes get dirty.
Yeah,
Real
and
fast.
I mean, I'll wear during the day. I'll wear a PT uniform and Army uniform, and if I come home and change into civilian clothes, it's like 3 different outfits right there that are getting washed, and it takes some time to run everything through that washer. But if you do the laundry like
Every day.
yeah, whatever
Once a
you
day.
wore that day, you just wash it right then. You don't let it pile up, and it's kind of, it keeps it simple. Like
Well, and we
I
don't
could
have
probably
as
get
many
away with
clothes.
just using one uniform all the time and
Yeah.
washing it every
I
night.
mean, 2 is nice, so.
That's what I did when I was at Airborne. Sorry, Will. I probably used a lot of your water, so I noticed your bill was a little higher. That was my fault. Hopefully those tacos I made up for it.
He froze you out, so it's okay.
That, oh man, I don't think he pays a lot for power because that apartment was cold.
He must take like really hot showers. He pays a
It
lot
was
for his hot
hilarious
water.
hearing Cody say the same thing about it from when he stayed there. Will said that Cody slept on the couch most nights, and I understand because when you're
It's
by
warmer.
a sliding glass door, there's a lot of draft that comes in. And he said he snuggled up like inside the cushions, like a rabbit going into its burrow.
They will not give him a
And I can
blanket?
picture Cody doing that. I'm sure he had a blanket, but if I had a blanket, I was cold.
Yeah, but you were right next to the door.
Yeah.
Couches can be like, keep the heat in.
Yeah. So, yeah, we made this thing like it'll work. It's fun. I really like doing this.
People are like, how are you doing this with 3 kids? I'm like, I'd go crazy kind of deal. Well, the kids are like always at my feet anyways. In a house, that's what I tell everyone. Like, they're always wanting to be right next to us all the time. Now they get to be, or they're outside.
Yeah, they'll like, I'm comfortable with letting them ride around the campground as long as they're together. That's the only thing I tell
just
them.
our circle.
Yeah.
Our little circle. I don't want them to go where there's no trees.
Yeah, I don't want them going too far out there, but
One day they rode their bikes with their little friends
to the playground,
which is like
quarter
a quarter mile away. They didn't tell us.
Yeah. So that. But I'm also thankful that we have kids who aren't afraid of the outside world. So that's big to me too. I don't know. Yeah, our family. We knew before we did this that it was going to mean that our family became really tight, and we also knew that if there was time to do it, it's while these kids are little. And
Impressionable.
yeah, right now they don't have a certain expectation for like how much of their personal space they're supposed to have or how much privacy. They don't have much concept of privacy yet, and we're we don't think we don't make a big deal out of privacy anyway, but right, yeah, I think
Within the family. it's
Yeah,
not a huge
within
deal.
the family.
Outside, we're more like you keep to your. You don't let
Yeah.
like walk around
So-
without pants on outside, which Billy Bob always wants to do after nap. Yeah.
a little bit of that's okay, but yeah,
He's getting older now. He needs to put pants on.
we knew that like doing this for a while, it was going to make a difference in our kids' upbringing, and it's going to be interesting. Like, there's no way we could ever see the difference because we can't
Not
can't
do it
clone
now.
all 5 of us and have a test group and a control group, but we're likely I think we're going to stay a pretty tight-knit family because even though moving around a lot, we've lived in close quarters with one another, and you can't just like leave the kids in another room and go off and do your own thing for half an hour. We are like, well, you're gonna need your own space at some point. I think when we get to Fort Lee, hopefully you can leave the kids at CYS. I don't know if, yeah, because it's a TDY.
I'm just hoping that hopefully Virginia opens up the Y again and I can utilize the Y
That'd be ideal, because then you get
to work out.
a little bit of time. They get some social time around other kids. Maybe you get your time to work out, and that helps you keep your sanity. Or maybe, there was that waitress at the Tilted Kilt who babysits. If she's still there, we could have her babysit. We can get a date night occasionally. But we
wish.
should have gotten a babysitter while we were there for Bullard. I don't know if we really could have afforded it just yet. We can now, but we got to do something like that, so that way we get our time together, and so they have a little bit of.
Maybe we'll make friends at the campground, because there's it's more of a military town, a military area. Maybe we'll trade off.
We're also only there for 6 months.
Yeah.
So I think we ought to just find a good babysitter. It's getting a little hot in here without the AC on.
I don't trust people, so.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get over that. So, Ultimate Cowboy Showdown, Amazon Prime. That was a fun show to watch. We won't give away who wins the show, but Chase Atkins is the host. At first, I don't know. I didn't think that he'd be that great of a host, because I just kind of think of him as like a Nashville country artist. Although I loved his music as a kid. Like,
He's old still.
No, there's a gnat, and this is my second cup of coffee. Ain't No Thinking Thing. Loved that song. He started coming out with other stuff like Honky Tonk Badonkadonk, and I loved that one too, but I said loved. Now I know better.
Probably, actually.
It's cheesy. Like, he did come out with some cheesy stuff like One Hot Mama.
We don't have to keep bashing him.
Only Fishing was a good song and relatable once you've got a daughter. So he turned out to be an awesome host. He's a little like rough around the edges, kind of ragged, and
he just doesn't
strong silent type.
Monotone.
Talks low and slow. No, he's not monotone. He's like John Wayne. Like, I mean, you can't be John Wayne, but he's kind of like headed that direction. Just that low, slow, like calm and collected demeanor, and the like direct way that he talks to everyone.
Yeah, I like that. I like that he's not just trying to make everybody feel good. He's just saying it how it is.
So he was cool as a host, but it took place in Alabama, and they bring in working cowboys, mostly working cowboys, to this ranch in Alabama, and there are a few dudes who are kind of like, you already know they don't really belong there. One was this California boy who rode bulls and then moved into Hollywood stunts, and kind of, my buddy Rick Lefebvre, kind of similar background actually. He was riding Bronx, and now he's a stuntman in Chicago, but very different guy. Like, this California dude didn't quite know his own place in the operation, and it showed where he wasn't doing his part. And there was another dude from Washington D.C. who had worked cattle a little bit on his grandparents' place in North Carolina,
which is like,
unless
if you're driving that far, it's 5 hours, and he said that he was going every summer.
Yeah,
and in North Carolina, what kind of ranch is that?
Not a lot of people, like, unless you're J.B. Mooney, you probably don't know a whole lot about ranching coming from North Carolina. But there are some like semi-legitimate operations in the Carolinas. So those two were out of it pretty quick. Spoiler alert. But there were some interesting characters. Like, there's a dude, Hadley Hunting from Utah, who showed up looking just like Val Kilmer in Tombstone. He's got the mustache and the soul patch, and like the pretty flat looking black cowboy hat. He didn't have the southern. He did come across like
he was trying to be like him.
Yeah, he rolled in with the jacket on.
He's like, I get my jackets and clothes dry cleaned.
The most obnoxious dude was a dude named Ethan Treadwell. Most obnoxious dude in the beginning, Ethan Treadwell, this dude who owns a ranch in Oklahoma. We're getting now 5 minutes. We're gonna have to wrap it up here soon. But that guy, like, he grows on you. And then there's another dude from Florida who ranches down there. Him and old Ethan Treadwell didn't quite see eye to eye, but it was cool the different challenges they did. They had, they started out doing like some sorting, and most of their challenges involve sorting in some fashion. And then there'd also be kind of like random stuff like, building a fire to the point where it burnt through
like
a piece of rope. Yeah.
Big enough point.
Changing a tire on a trailer, which
Throwing
no lie.
hay.
Yeah, throwing hay, which if you work in production agriculture,
They had to
there's
build fence at one point.
there's a lot of other jobs that you gotta. Oh yeah, they did build fence, and the entire time that they did this, they tended to a herd of 50 cattle,
That would
somewhere
be
thereabouts. That
the
would be
winnings.
that would be the winners, and they also used a portable corral system similar to the Duke, which is the one that we use back home. So they'd roll out with the cattle in with that portable corral if they won the whole thing, and they got a buckle, but not the nicest buckle. The immunity buckles were a little cooler because Montana Silversmiths did those ones. So yeah, and they were also building a barn during the duration of that challenge. I kind of suspect that some professionals came in at some point and finished the work on the barn, because you don't see a whole lot of them building it, and it turns out to be a somewhat respectable barn in
Very
the
nice
end.
looking, yeah.
Yeah, and then they were living in like this bunkhouse in the meantime. I don't know how long the challenge went on. I'd take it was about 14 days, but it was interesting. People from all over, big old gal from Iowa, cute little gal from Texas, another dude who worked at a feedlot in Texas.
All sorts of people.
Yeah, like.
North Dakota.
Yeah, a few like who you wouldn't quite expect to show up, but although honestly the ones who you expect to be the last four standing really do end up being the last four in there. So yeah, it was a fun show to watch. Yeah, that was one of the ones. What else do I want to talk about? We got.
You don't have much time.
Yeah, we don't. Was there anything else I was gonna circle back around to?
I don't know.
Well, we'll figure it out. But in the meantime, we got 2 minutes left of this thing before Anchor kicks me off. If you're listening, thanks for listening. Thank you for coming on with me. Always welcome suggestions for the next podcast. Cody, I'm not going to give an outline. I'm not going to give you a rundown on what we're going to talk about. So don't expect that to be in the description. If you want to know what we talked about in this podcast, you can listen to it all the way through, because this isn't monetized. Enjoy listening to some more copyrighted music for the exit from this show. This has been Trailer Talking Trash. Pyramid Scheme might join. I gotta turn it off too.
Just curious to see my joy.
Yeah, because I mixed up the